Good evening, Randomania. Welcome to another part of the bracket round here in the highway to the Zemus Zone 4 here. I'm Nightdew. I'm with Solaris here, and we've got a race of the round of 64 here. I believe match 2 with Flurry and elvensorrow. How are you today, Solaris?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to this Seed of Betrayers. Looks like we got a Kane hero tonight. And yeah, Flurry and Elven. Flurry, of course, one of our veterans, versus one of our up and comers in Elven Sorrow. I think this is going to be a good race.
Absolutely here. Just looking in, aside from that Kane hero here, we've got a couple freebies actually here in terms of we are going to find the King Queen Evelyn, which everybody loves to find until they hate to find it in the freest spot in the game. And we're going to wake Yang with a pan two objectives which our runners are probably very happy to see here, unless they hate jet seeds, because those two can be completed rather quickly given the correct key item or boss slots luck, I suppose.
Oh yeah, for sure. And when you've got a mix of a boss hunt and a key item objective, especially this key item, it's what we call a chaining key item, as in it's part of a chain. It doesn't terminate. Just meaning you're kind of more likely to find this pan than, at least a little bit more likely than a legend sword, for instance. So, because it could lead into something else. So, if I were one of these runners, it would definitely be on my mind that these two objectives could suddenly become complete at like any moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Although one thing I have noticed, at least in the Zima Zone 4 flags here, is that case summon, one of the usual where we put key items in the summon bosses slots, is actually off here. So the pan actually lost a little bit of value here because those sylphs are going to hand over an item every time. They won't have a key item, which does mean that pan is only gaining one key item, as opposed to two, which a lot of people were actually pretty used to before going into the Zima Zone 4 seeds.
Yeah, definitely. In a seed where the pan isn't one of your objectives, in ZZ4, you might change your routing a little bit, because if you've already done Sheila 1, setting up Sheila 2 is this exact same amount of time. Something interesting about the pan with case summon off means that it's a chain that's sort of a straight line. It's the same with the Baron key. Those two usually fork because of the summon spot that comes with the check, but these are sort of like in a straight line, so you know that like the pan's going to lead to eventually one ultimate terminating key item. But I digress. Looks like we're off to the races here.
We are off to the races. We have our speedy Kane hero, and we have our reverse vanilla here with a Lunar Sparkle, a Sand Ruby for a free character check, and a Dark Knight Cecil here. So plenty of melee power to go around at the beginning of the seed here.
This is a good moment of inverted vanilla. Keep in mind that Sparkle, we are always hunting down a Wyvern. A Sparkle at Baigen is a potential Wyvern, something to always keep in mind.
Yeah, 20% so far, given that we have 5 Lunar Sparkles to identify here, and I believe we're having a little bit of technical difficulties on elvensorrow's end here, but we do know is starting with that Sand Ruby here, and honestly, with the potentiality of that being Edge, I would not see why you would not just beeline that immediately.
Yeah, it's interesting the opening where you might open your loot, depending on your starting party, is sort of overridden by the fact that you start with the Sand Ruby, right? Because you can come to Watery Pass, it's pretty good loot here, and then with the money that you find, Flurry is then going to go see the Sand Ruby character, almost certainly take them, and then do a little bit of shopping while he's there.
Yeah, that's another thing we have. We do have about full sale prices here, so even the even like the whistle there did get value again, just because it sells for a lot of money here. But did see some useful J items, an Aegis shield, which isn't bad there. Didn't exactly see anything great in terms of weaponry for our starting Kane here, but still plenty of things to check in that regard.
Yeah, not so great. Really good for money. Aegis Shield is probably the best shield in the game. Flurry's setting up a save here just in case he doesn't like the Sand Ruby character or the shops, can reset back to it. But if you check the weapon shop, I like checking the weapon shop for a black sword or a dancing dagger. We see a dupe, Cecil, and beds, so Sand Ruby has no value. We're gonna see.
Fortunate, but
It looks like elvensorrow is back. I'm gonna guess Elven did the same loot routing. Cabins and life potions. Pretty happy to see those.
yeah, a little bit of a different route there. I did see a little bit of different items in the inventory. May have not been to Watery Pass just yet. There were one or two decent J items. I believe there was at least a Blizzard and I want to say a Boreas in there. Black Belt Karate in that armor shop too, so all your strength enhancing needs right there.
I'm a little surprised Flurry not checking that weapon shop. elvensorrow is finds the flame spear, but without any money in hand, flame spear is pretty much good enough. Early on, you're really just looking for a flame spear, a black sword, blizzard spear, whatever, an ogre axe. You just want something to accelerate the first few checks, and a flame spear, if you have the money, would be kind of plenty. It's not a great late game weapon, but it'll do plenty early on, especially since you can use it as an item. It casts a kind of weaker fire too.
Yeah, considering your first few bosses here, unless you find something kind of rude like Mom Bomb or something like that, they're going to have barely over 1,000 hit points. Their Flame Spear will totally get the job done early.
But yeah, with the...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say with the Boreas in the front of Waterfall here, Poison Axe for Flurry, and then the Stardust items. So we've got good J items, we've got the Poison Axe. This is good enough to get going.
Yeah, of note in Flurry's routing, and I believe Elven's going to find at least 2 of those. Our care package at the beginning of the game does start our runners out with 2... with a small package of star veils, but we've seen 3 more be looted here, as we do see the Baron Guards in the waterways, so that's going to be skipped there immediately. But giving our runners a few extra star veils to play with does make those bosses that demand them just a little less threatening, because now we have a surplus.
Random Charm Rod, that's a 2%er in that Lion Cave. Love seeing kind of random good loot like that. And yeah, star veils, J... shops do not sell J items in ZZ4 flags, so any star veil, you start with like I think 3 to 5 with the starting kit, so any more that you find is kind of a nice luxury. Definitely never mad to find them.
We'll do need a Dwarf Axe 2 back row arcane here, but this early in the game it does have a samurai armor there, so shouldn't really matter too much in terms of defense just yet here, but yeah, we can get our melee characters back road a little bit here, as we do not know what we're going to find on Hobbs yet. We do see another Lunar Sparkle here in... And that's the Lunars here, and a great target for that Flame Spear.
Yeah, great target for that Stardust also. Jump with the cane. Cecil's armor, this spot doesn't punch hard at all. Actually, yeah, the Stardust just takes care of them immediately. Not the sparkle you wanted, but easy encounter with that J item all told. And a Darkness Crystal from Antlion immediately with the value.
Well, lots of options already available here. Does find a Tella guarded by some dolls up on top of Mount Ordeals, and in this flag set, you're not unhappy to see him, especially with that charm rod found in the Antlion Cave there. Definitely good find here for our runners between that utility and well, we've got Darkness, we've got Tella, and the Giant is already on the table.
That Tella is honestly a blessing to find, knowing that Darkness is available right away, because with a Poison Axe in hand, especially, Darkness right away, you gotta think so more deep in the back of Flurry's mind is, oh god, do I have to do Mac Giants in like 5 minutes? But with the Tella, the Mac Giants, so there are a couple different grind options on the Giant. The Mac Giants are weak to Poison Axe, Ogre Axe, Charm Arrows, those sorts of things. You want some levels and gear to be able to kind of kill them, though. They're a little bit more tricky and a little slower than D-Machines, which Tella is set up well to deal with. So for kind of the grind options, Tella is certainly the superior one.
Yeah, and I'd want a Paladin Cecil there for the XP anyway, so I would. Well, I mean, you need it for Telespell list anyway. Of note there, Elvensorrow did loot the back of Hobbs, did find an Hourglass too, so that could be one free-ish boss later there that may not have to deal with here, or even if we do something like Ryu's or something to that effect, that also would come in handy if we decided to shoe the giant for whatever reason here.
Yeah, Hourglass is a great luxury. You cannot buy that item on this flag set, and it's an AoE stop that lasts essentially for forever, so it is a free encounter where it is useful. Fleury finding Cure 3s in Mysidia, two things in mind immediately. One, obviously very useful. Two, the availability of Cure 3s could put in the back of your mind that a white mage isn't showing up. Since they are guaranteed in a shop if there is no white mage in the seed. But we're going to see a character check on the moon, see who's up here, see who's going to be, for Fleury, the third party member, but we know it's the fourth party member. Potentially.
Did not do enough there. And a 15 damage swing by Cecil does seal the D-Lunar's victory for Elvensorrow there. Definitely a little more interesting of a fight here. Gonna get that Darkness Crystal as we do see a party member is the best way I can put that on the moon here.
This is a person who has joined our party. He plays songs. He's delightful. He can hide.
And very rarely he can shoot he can shoot Ruby slot bosses for 3,000 with the absolute correct setup, but that's few and far between. But we are going to get the K Bahamut check here from Fleury. Going to see, and I actually love this. I love having information. I love knowing what exactly is there. I actually love looting K Bahamut just because there are the possibilities for some higher tier items here. Being on the moon as it is, a little wild on the variance here, but is not really going to loot that. Just going to get the information. Probably going to reset out immediately unless it's like KQE right there. It is not. That is some orbs.
So CPU, that is free. That's like free in air quotes. Literally anywhere it shows up. It will not kill you until like 10 rounds in, because the laser will do 10% damage to each party member. It's just kind of a pain in the butt, but they'll get levels, they'll get damage multipliers. It won't really be a problem. Don't really mind seeing CPU there. A lot worse could be at K value for sure. And yeah, I love checking it too. I love getting that information. Really good to know how you have to prepare.
Yeah, with this party, that would probably mean more just getting some people in the back road here. I mean, that's a lot easier with the potentiality of Paladin Cecil, as all you need is a bow and arrows for that as well, which I believe our runners do already have in terms of the looting they've done. Elvensorrow is going to get the news of those Cure 3s also here in Mysidia. So at this point, I mean, we've got 2 key items and we've got a Dream of the Moon here. At this point, is it how fast can we get our Paladin Cecil and possibly get our grind, or are we going to be looking to update our party still at this point? We still don't know the Baron Inn character now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on who's at Baron Inn and what access to the underground that we have. Because if we get the Magma Key, we don't get the character check, but we do get some of the freebies if they want to take those before kind of making a decision on a grind. Or I would say if they could find good enough weaponry, depending on what kind of shows up along their looting route, you can kind of put the grind off for a little bit. I mean, it really depends on what you want to do. It's one of those things where it's kind of a difficult proposition to keep playing the seed without grinding when you can slingshot your characters on the giant. And the slingshot's kind of easier to set up if you do it sooner than later.
I will say it does feel extremely tempting to take this group, get up ordeals, get Tella that XP, maybe go to Baron Inn, see if you've got a 5th character then, and I mean, the odds that you're going to find something for that Cecil to swing are still fairly decent here.
Now, if a hook shows up, that's a character check that they're gonna have access to, and exit will let you leave without having to commit, to fully walking that character check out. It's also access to a gated shop for weapons, and it puts an interesting decision in mind of, do you do a grind and then go to the moon, or do you do the hook route? So, I don't know. Very interesting things kind of in our future here. But meanwhile, Fleury is doing full defense, going to fight Mylan-Z. See what this reward is.
I will say, if I had, it definitely does depend on that 5th character, because while Cecil and Kane are definitely great, and is actually did pick up some of those Cure 3s, and is going to just toss one of those Cure 3s at Mylan and render most of this fight completely free, as it already was, but I love throwing Cure Potions at a Mylan-Z.
Yeah, also throwing them at the D-laners feels really good.
Well, there's our hook there, and looks like elvensorrow is going to be right on Fleury's tail here, but that is at least how the Magma Key still could be on the blue planet somewhere, but that's down to Ordeals and Baron in here, so now, mind you, I do like going and seeing that character already anyway, but I mean, we're hunting for, what do you want to see more at this point? Do you want to see Edge or do you want to see Rosa?
Ooh, how about both? I'll take both.
I would love to take both, but given the choice of just one of the two right here, both of those would be who I want in this party right now.
Yeah, definitely. They actually both serve similar functions in a funny way. We've got Cure 3, access to Cure 3s. Edge can steal Bacchus, so there's your access to Berserk. Edge is, of course, a different grind option as well, because you can steal Sirens, which then you can do yellow dragon eggs underground. Though you can't do that until you actually go underground, notably. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Although I would believe that Edge would make the underground trip just a little bit easier. Also, knowing exactly what you have on this hook route, especially if it ends up being one of those unsafe bosses that we've yet to find, just to let us know that the Magma Key might actually be lurking somewhere on the blue planets still.
Yeah, absolutely a possibility. It could be at Baron Inn, it could be at Ordeals. But Fleury, in the meanwhile, is going to check the hook route immediately, get the character, get the loot here. Might be able to shop and upgrade his characters, and be able to formulate a plan on how to take this hook route. I think the other way to approach this hook route is to do everything else on the blue planet and then come here last and do this in one trip, knowing that you have enough power to get through Baron Inn and Ordeals. Kind of two different ways I would see getting through once you've got that hook. And I think they both feel pretty equal to me.
Yeah, I do wait the character check a little bit more here, just due to the existence of Tella and that exit spell. That's a pain, man. So that's just grind for hit points. That's Iridia, which I don't think Fleury's that thrilled to see. No, I don't mind it at all, really, honestly. I don't know if we actually found much in the way of summons. We do have that Charm Rod that Tella's currently holding on to. She is, however, a very viable slingshot target.
Yeah, she's a great slingshot target, and even if she wasn't a great slingshot target, on this current version of the randomizer, the tier in S standard tier 5 item shops, Leviathan is a tier 5 item and is a very powerful summon, especially with some wisdom boosting gear like the Charm Rod, which we have access to a shop that has 2 guaranteed tier 5 items. Now they could both be elixirs, but still pretty good to find. And then there's an Ogre Axe. Definitely pretty happy to see that, because the Ogre Axe plus the Poison Axe means that Cecil and Kane have weapons now. They're not the best, but they're pretty good. They're functional.
I actually did see elvensorrow actually in the left tower also pick up an ogre axe. So dueling ogre axes on each players here, and I mean at this point, Ordeals is definitely calling my name here. And Fleury says, "I've seen enough. I have an ogre axe. Maybe it's time to make a paladin."
Yep. Ogre Axe is very good. It does less damage than the Poison Axe, but it has very, very good accuracy. It's like 80 or 90%. And you put that character in the middle slot if you want even better accuracy.
And it's even one-handed, so you can strap a Dragoon, Aegis, or Crystal Shield onto your bearer to make that even more worth it.
Yep, and getting more character information, really prioritizing that. Going to Baron Inn, Fleury is seeing a dupe Rydia and an Ashura, says, you know what, I'm good. I'm out. Deuces.
Yep. And here we are, we're going to check that item shop there, and yes, there's Leviathan and Asura, which, I mean, to be fair, with that Rydia, that gives her her damage option, and that gives her her, what if we don't find a white mage and we need a healer here, because that Asura, sometimes it'll draw the life one here. I do see a Sylph in elvensorrow's inventory as well here. But yeah, that's pretty much between those three summons, down to the all you honestly need.
Yeah, the Ashura is actually more interesting to me. If we're going to take a Rydia and slingshot her to nuke anyways, the Leviathan becomes less important. Ashura, on the other hand, she cannot heal without the Ashura summon, and Ashura, it only works 2/3 of the times, but when it works, it's a full party heal. It's never going to do less than like thousands of hit points in healing.
Now, one
When
thing
you need it, it's very good.
Yeah, one thing elvensorrow did find that I didn't see in Fleury's inventory is elvensorrow went into the weapon shop in that, oh my, that's Golbez. Anyway, but yeah, elvensorrow found a dwarf axe. Elvensorrow is now able to back row that cane, most importantly here. But I do not think that Fleury did find that dwarf axe.
No, I don't think he did either. And yeah, we get confirmation in his menu. He does not have that dwarf axe. Dwarf axe is one of those things I never expect to find because it's really only dwarf axe is the thing that can back row that cane. It's also, as the hero, kind of crucially part of the plan to manipulate his agility when you really need that for certain checks, and especially the Zoramus fight. So pretty useful for Elven to have that. Now, of course, the Drain Spear can do the same thing for agility manipulation, but Dwarven Axe is pretty good.
Yep, elvensorrow doing a little bit more of this looting here. Now, Fleury is knocking out party members for this Golbez fight. Did keep Edward upright, might be wanting to try and hide him before that, but is choosing Cecil and Kane to mostly keep upright here if he can get that Edward hidden.
Yeah, I think the main thinking here is that you want Edward to gain the, well, not that you want Edward to gain the experience. I guess you don't really care if he gets slingshot or not. And yeah, you get to hide him, which it looks like he's setting up now. Yep, so... Yep, just as you called here. Now with only 2 party members up, Golbez will summon the Shadow Dragon. Shadow Dragon will be like, I will take you down to 2 party members. Oh, you're there already? Okay, cool. Thanks. And then we're going to move on to the part where we actually have to fight him. Well, I'm not actually sure.
Go ahead.
Do the spells hurt enough here for this party? I know the magic is very low here.
I know the physical is really low here. It might just be with party member hit points being what they are. Kane is tops with 345 here, so Virus and a Lit 3 still might hurt. Now, I did notice that Fleury did throw an immediate Star Veil, and I don't know if it's still going to be online at this point.
I think it should be, and it makes sense to throw it. I think if not one of Golbez's spells, 2 on the same party member would take them out. And it's... Oh, well... I don't know if it was Kane who got that Star Veil off. Cecil goes down. I think Fleury was just checking his Star Veil with that life potion. Yep, it's still up. Golbez takes 1,500. Kane swinging. The spot only has about 3,000 health. Fleury concerned about Star Veil dropping off, puts 1 up on Edward. This comes back to those Star Veils, the bonus Star Veils we found, and yeah, very smart. That Star Veil dropped off of Kane here. Just need one more reflected spell. Doesn't happen. Kane goes down. Edward's Starveil should still be up. And now with one more hit, the script will activate here, and Golbez will question his life choices and be no more.
Question his life choices that he was just defeated by a 16 hit point bard.
Hey, he did things. Edward did things. He was the bestest of boys. Elvin, in the meanwhile, going in with this full party, was able to jump with Kane. The timing is kind of weird and tricky. I don't know if Shadow is going to count Kane. Yeah, unfortunately, Kane dropping just a little bit too soon. 2 high health party members survive at the very least for Elvin. We'll see sort of how he chooses to handle the second half of this fight. Meanwhile, the back attack spot is the Dark Imps. Stardust, and maybe even that Boreas will be pretty good here.
He only seems to have the Stardust in terms of multi-target here. Is going to throw that Vampire as well here. It should be enough still here. Gonna remove one of these Dark Imps here, and I agree with not using the
Hourglass,
here.
right?
Yeah, there we
I
go.
did too.
Also, I do believe Elvensorrow did pick up a black sword somewhere here by the looks of it.
Yep, Elvensorrow gets through the Golbez fight. Well done for him. Meanwhile, Fleury also gets through the Dark Imps. Yeah, the Dark Imps, I agree, not throwing the Starveil or the Hourglass. It's not that dangerous an encounter with the high amount of armor that he has on his team.
Okay, apparently the black sword was in Evelyn along with the Dwarf Axe, so thank you for that. Anyway, we do have our Kane is going to pick this fight solo here.
What is the worst boss we could see here?
Alt Gauntlet?
I think that would be annoying, but probably not.
I mean, if I had a Blizzard Spear or something like that, oh, that's an Adamant Rock. That's important.
Yep, that's half an objective. Here's a Sparkle. Just impaled him.
Yep, gonna be no problem whatsoever for our Dragoon here. 2 jumps should just deal with it. Does raise our chances of Wyvern being back at that initial Baron spot to 33% now. We're down to 3 unknown moon bosses here.
Absolutely. Hopefully our runners have either written that down somewhere or just put it in the back of their mind, or when I use Scala's boss tracker, I use the Zeromus boss as my unknown Sparkle. That's how I mark mine.
And there we go. Sorry, I'm sorry, getting some got a black sword proc there. Did get a swoon here. Maybe also be out of sweeping J Adams. Is dropping stops will tell that I guess he does have in his initial oh, yeah, another swoon proc there.
Yeah, really smart to swoon proc these. Makes the fight quite a bit faster.
Does not seem to be wanting to slingshot that Rydia here, as did throw a life potion there, so she will get the XP. Now, again, you've got a Darkness Crystal. The good news is she's actually going to have the MP for those summons here, but yeah, it is Pain Man. No, yeah, Pain Man and Evelyn there. That was asked there if there was a Sparkle the Evelyn spot. The only thing we really still don't know, I believe, is Baron in 2.
Correct. We don't know Baron in 2. And we're about to check Mist Cave here. And that's just an outline.
What's it doing off the moon?
That is a dang good question. That is not where you belong, sir.
And as LQFleury is also going to get the information that Elvensorrow did get, that we have the Baron guards are in the shower here.
So Elvensorrow picking Rydia up is a very interesting choice. It It's kind of making me think that he plans to take that hook route before a grind. I'm not sure if that's the case, but it's certainly a thing that you would do if you plan to like use Leviathan and who is the Ruby spot boss again?
It was Pain Man, so you're not really looking to use Leviathan there, unfortunately.
No, it would have to be the one after, not the one. It would have to be the King Queen spot. Even then, you've got other tools to kind of probably get through that, and Rydia will not survive anyways. So we'll see what his plan is.
The only thing I can think of is you're expecting something punchy, and you do have Cecil online here. Yeah, I would probably go into that preparing. Likely, I'd probably try to prepare some cover strats in there. But at this point with this party now, one good use of Leviathan, now that I think about it here, is there has been some pretty decent value at Evelyn Castle. And you might go fishing with this party for a high-tier spear for Kane or a holy sword for Cecil.
Fleury is a self-admitted connoisseur of Eblin. I would be very surprised if that's something he doesn't do, unless he just goes to D-Money immediately, which may be what's happening here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, there goes Tella into the center slot here. That does seem to be a D-Money formation here that's just starting up here, and might have already got to that with... may have guessed it correctly with elvensorrow, because here comes all the equipment coming off of that Tella and going onto that Rydia here. Does seem to be wanting to use her in a far more active role here.
She also has the Sylph Summon, and if Elven is able to set up to where she's still in slingshot range but can actually cast Sylph, it's also a very functional way to get through just doing your D-Machine grind, because it's the damage and healing kind of at the same time. But Fleury's like, I'm not going to Evelyn Castle, I don't want to touch that hook route, I am just here to slay machine dragons.
So I will put the timing here, as Fleury did enter the giant at 29 minutes and 12 seconds. So I actually kind of want to time this and just see just how long it takes for this D-Money grind to get off the ground, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. And he's got two great slingshot targets. That Cecil should be level 1, and then the Rydia is also at level 1. So I believe 12 of these slingshot should be enough for Rydia, so that is probably the target number.
Yep. And we do get an Octomam in the Baronin 2 here, so not especially a menacing target here with the power that elvensorrow is bringing to bear. Now we are getting a boss check immediately here, and that is a Mom Bomb in the element slot. Do you like your bombs with maximum possible hit points?
More than maximum possible hit points? Not really. Though I guess funny enough, Mom Bomb usually gets more health, and at that spot kind of only gets the maximum amount of health. But if the little bombs would show up, oh boy, do they have a lot of health. Thankfully, our runners are not going to have to deal with that, while Fleury is setting up, doing his manipulation here to find the Searcher and 2-beamer encounter that ultimately summons the dragon machines that he'll be fighting to gain experience. Meanwhile, we get the Baron key from Baronin. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just actually looking, yeah, A, Vanilla Bear Key, and B, I believe our objective 4 there is King Queen Evelyn instead of the King of the Town of Monsters there, I believe. Just gonna look at that, I'm like, oh hey, that's a thing. But yeah, Baron Key, I'd dive that immediately. And that shop right there.
Definitely.
Oh my, those are Heron robes. We do have a Flame Whip, Cat Claw's lightsaber.
There's a light sword. Yep, sell all you got, buy a light sword. That's definitely what I'd be interested in doing. Might even be interested in that heroine robe. You do have a flame whip. It's not the most important thing though, but it is nice for if you need the agility manipulation. But yeah, that light sword has a pretty big upgrade for Cecil.
Yeah, I do like the heroine robe on someone more like a Forum or a Rosa in this case.
Yeah.
Less for the physical stats and more for the whole fact that making sure your Berserk caster goes first is a very good thing.
Yep. It is nice with an Ashura caster because Ashura doesn't really care about your stats, but yeah, definitely it would be more useful for a white mage.
I mean, the good news is Elvensorrow is actually going to get the information here of that Lunar Sparkle here, so we are going to be, if that is one of our moon bosses that aren't the Wyvern, obviously we're 50-50 on anything else here, but this is a long blue planet here.
Yeah, if this does have Wyvern, Baron in Flurry fading it might be one of those things that he doesn't come back to for a very long time, which certainly could be a problem if it plays out that way.
Yeah, looked at it, saw a duplicate Rydia, and I mean that's enough to say, well, I'm definitely gonna put this lower in my priorities here because I'm not really making a character check. Although doing a D-Machine this early does mean if you do find another character, like, say you did go there and get that Baron Key, if you find your Rosa, find your Edge or whoever, the good news is you could still add them because you have plenty of seed left to slingshot them because they're just going to get that bonus XP from average level, and that's an Ogopogo, so another miss here in Baron.
Unfortunate miss, but it makes a lot of sense to take this check. It is, like you said, it's a character. It's another shot at a white mage. The shot at an edge. There are two more bosses here. There's one on the old king throne, the Kanatsu spot, and then the Odin throne in the basement is another boss as well. Meanwhile, Flurry's just kind of getting through his D-Machine grind here. We'll be here for a little bit. But once he's done, he will be endgame levels ready, basically.
Yep, now the good thing about Sylph on this Ogopogo is it's in an early enough slot where Sylph is actually going to top you off on most of your hit points here. So even that counterattack 25% blaze that comes back at you is not going to be nearly as painful.
No, and if Alvin were trying to keep that slingshot preserved on Rydia, would not have use of Blaze, this encounter would be going probably a good amount slower. I mean, it's one of those things, you could Berserk Cecil and do your healing with Tella. But gets through the fight, gets a good amount of experience. We'll see who the next boss is.
Let's go check those 3 chests there, and... is going to top off Rydia's MP enough to guarantee a lot. Oh, hi, D-Mist.
Would you like a bonus round? Because I think we found a bonus round.
We found a bonus round, and that's even more great news for Elvensorrow, and even more middling news for Flurry, because if, again, like you said, if Flurry says, Baron in, I don't need that, I've got all the characters I want, well, we just added a key item to the pile.
Now, of course, the randomizer could just do randomizer things, and Baron Castle gives you nothing, and then D-Mist gives you nothing, and then you feel really bad about this, but one of those things you never know until you're done. Kind of funny, I saw Elvin eyeing that Ogre Axe and then did not equip it under the Cecil. D-Mist, fun fact, is resistant to Holy. She'll take half damage from it. And the light sword is Holy Element.
Just thought he had enough damage without that weapon swap to not worry about it here. But did unfortunately get one missed phase. Probably should not see another here.
Yeah, no, between like another virus, a Sylph, Kane's jump. This bot only has about, what, like 5,000-ish hit points?
3,500-ish, 4,000, somewhere in that
Oh, so even
ballpark at
less than
least.
that, yeah.
Meanwhile, we
How
have
about-
Rydia the Third.
Yet another Rydia. Everything's just coming up Rydia and Baron, apparently.
Apparently so, and again, elvensorrow with those checks there at Cave Evelyn, and our knowledge that all the big money summons that you'd ever want are in that shop here. At this point, are you resigning yourself to the fact that she might be your healer for this seed?
Certainly. You're also resigning yourself to the fact that the possibility to slingshot her is decreasing by the moment.
It absolutely is. We are going to see the Baron Trash Can having a twin harp.
Oh.
Which is what some people might throw into a trash can.
Yeah, how would you feel about getting a twin harp there?
I mean, if I've done Baron here like elvensorrow has done, I chase it because I'm committing to this particular bit here.
Yep. You are absolutely, I agree. You are hard committed to it.
And, oh my, that's, I look over on the D-Machine grind here, and I'm not sure what happened. We have a Leviathan in the Odin spot here, and, we have a lot of low hit point characters here, but there is no D-Machine on the field, so hey, that's nice.
Well, you know what, folks? It turns out if you lose all of your hit points in a battle, you actually lose the game, or at least that moment at this grind fight. So, remember that you never need more than one hit point to survive, because that is what Fleury just did. I am sure his butt is appropriately clenched at this moment. Good on him to get through it.
And I am very careful with my D-Machine, so I hate letting him get that point. Anyway, free Heroine Robe on the D-Mist, so between a Twin Harp and the Demon in that check, this is veering dangerously into rabbit hole territory, but hey, free Odin as well.
Yeah, it's not the value. Gotta admit. The character was a miss, the bosses were a miss, the key item is an unknown, the D-Mist key item was a miss. Now it's looking like if Twin Harp has nothing, Fleury, if Fleury continues to fade Baron in, it's sort of like a Galaxy Brain moment. You faded the right thing.
Let's give you the small peace of mind here that Fleury is going to have that D-Mist still in the back of his head at least, saying, well, where is it? And at the very least, you do get a little bit of peace of mind here in terms of, hey, well, I guess I don't keep having to look for him. elvensorrow's still checking weapon and armor shops. Not sure what he's looking for at this point. Maybe a Blizzard Spear. Elven Bow is a not bad thing here.
I'm guessing he's looking for a Cursed Ring.
Yeah.
Kayn is pretty fast as a hero, and especially if you are not comfortable with a fast anchored Zemus fight, that Cursed Ring could be pretty important. I know Elvin's so he's a newer runner, and he's been grinding a lot of this flag set in particular, and I believe has a lot of experience with all of the different heroes, and may feel that Cursed Ring is very, very important for his survival.
Meanwhile, Fleury has finished up, it looks like, because there is the weak going out onto the Searcher here. Even Eddie is going to get up for this XP after saying, whoa, that thing looks scary, let's get out of here.
Also, chat referencing the John Madden. I just did comms with Fleury, who did an incredible John Madden impression. So I had to get my job met in there somehow.
Yeah, anyway, that was 50 levels on the dot for Rydia, so our child is grown up and nuclear now.
And that Cecil should be super swole. Also a free Hourglass 3. Neat.
No, I'm not glad to see that, but yes, please turn your encounters off after the grind is done. Throwing a cabin is Flurry saying, huh, I'm already here. Am I just gonna try to bully down that mom bomb now?
No, I think Flurry is going to do the last arm. It's almost certainly what we're setting up.
That also makes sense here.
I think the best that he has is the Ogre Axe. Probably wants to spike a Holy Sword. Or even like a Gungnir or something. There's the trap chest, of course, but even just the loot here in general is really, the quality is really good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, elvensorrow spiked a second heroine robe. Rosa Porum, where are you?
Me attack you. Edward doing hundreds of damage with a harp. But in the meanwhile, elvensorrow is doing the twin harp. This is randomized music. It is not Edward's tune, and we're going to be quiet to let you enjoy that.
Now, how did Eddie know I was playing the Super Metroid Zelda 3 randomizer here very recently?
Eddie just knows.
Yeah. Now, mind you, Flurry did leave. We do have a pass inside. So unfortunately, it was unfortunately a zonk there, and it does look like Flurry did leave the giant at roughly 44 minutes. So that was a again, endgame levels in roughly 16 minutes, so that is the time he will have to make up on elvensorrow, as I believe he does look like he's heading immediately to the Baron Inn. Did see Last Arm, and did see, it wasn't a Holy Sword, but it was a King of Dragons, so did spike a Bahamut out of that Last Arm chest there, so not unhappy to see that with Rydia already here and at endgame levels.
Yeah, not just a Bahamut, but one of the random chests, the non-trap chest, also had a Gungnir, so pretty good pickups for Flurry. The thing Elven needs Flurry to do right now is to get bamboozled by this entire chain, which it looks like maybe what's happening here.
Yeah,
So Flurry may choose to fade Baron Castle. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one big thing here is we do know it's DKC there. Even with Staleman and Mad Ogre's chest XP, which I'm guessing elvensorrow may be going for, still gonna have to get maybe a curative or two off on that Cecil to get through, whereas Flurry is just going to walk through this underground. Or could get the hide strats off, yes.
That might also be why he really wants the Cursed Ring, is because then you're pretty much guaranteed to let Edward hide and just make that encounter entirely free.
Yep.
That'd be a good reason to get a Cursed Ring.
did pick up that Leviathan. Unfortunately, Fleury just has something that's absolutely and completely better.
He has Nuke and Mega Nuke. You get to pick. Do you want single target nuke or do you want full screen nuke action? He's got them both.
We have multiple settings for this microwave apparently today.
Too bad the microwave just fries everything to a crisp.
Well, unfortunately, the only setting on both of those nuclear options do seem to be set at split your own atoms, I believe.
Elven doing the Staleman chest here. Should be able to get through it with the two, the Ogre and the Poison Axe wielders. Yep, they go down.
Yeah,
Could
bringing
make
2
something
axes.
good.
And...
oh,
that qualifies.
Oh, baby, that's a crystal sword from the Cave Eblin Staleman, which is not exactly the best odds of a tier 8, but boy, did that one hit.
That one hit. Boy, do we not know if Fleury is going to check that with the real ultimate power he already has, although I might be tempted to try to spike a crystal sword, but yeah, that's absolutely huge and exactly what elvensorrow needed here.
Yeah, no, there's no world that Fleury takes trap chests unless like he finds an edge and wants to steal Bacchus. Because, I mean, what more could he really want or need at this point? That crystal sword's really big, but we do still need to remember Fleury, well, is behind in checks, but is ahead of an entire grind. But yeah, that crystal sword, wow, that really could change things.
Yeah, that's, again, Fleury is in the process of making up the roughly 15 minutes spent on that grind here, and again, having multiple sources of Radiant just burning everything down will absolutely do so here. But now, how much time will that crystal sword allow elvensorrow to hold on to here?
The funniest thing about this situation to me, and I say this in jest because Fleury's a friend, Fleury and I literally just had a conversation the other day about doing an early giant with a Cecil versus checking, it was Castle Eblin, that was the context. And we have a Kainatsu at the King Queen spot, not as bad as the Element spot, but I think the wave is still enough to be dangerous here for Elven, right?
It is. I believe that wave's going to do something on the order about 500 to 600, I believe. Oh, far less, actually. Okay. Unfortunately, it's the punches here that really matter.
It's the punches and the fact that this spot has about 31 to 33 agility, which is certainly faster than even Kain at the moment. So you saw it cast fast immediately, and now it's going to get another wave off.
Yeah, again, this is something that Fleury is going to kind of just run over here, as it's pretty much Fleury's going to walk into this, see a turtle, say hi turtle, and then shove the turtle into a microwave.
The kind of good news here actually is that wave is definitely a better option than punching at this point, and it is still throwing a punch in between this, right? I think this is actually in control now. Yeah, okay, so hiding in the shell. Kainatsu will remedy maybe once, but then he'll die.
Yep, and now, mind you, here's actually the slightly harder part here, as we don't really have a good way to anchor to make sure we get that eddy hidden here. And so elvensorrow is going to jump back and save here. you really have two options in this fight. If you can get that Eddie hidden, you're gold. But other than that, if you're not, that Pain Man does about 600 damage in that spot, roughly. Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, something around there. It's enough to be a problem for his team.
Yep, did bring the Cure 3 up, maybe trying to... Did only seem to have that one Cure 3, actually. Maybe trying to see if dropping battle speed does seem to want to try and get that Cecil to... and Flurry is gone to the moon.
Yeah, has that Twin Harp in hand, says, you know what? I'm good. I'm good. I'll do that later, or maybe never.
Okay, so this is doable. You're just going to need to... Oh, wow, by 3 hit points.
Oh, so close.
Yep, Scala throwing us a new community emote here as well, here over in the chat there. Again, if you can just get to the point where your party order, where you can just throw Cecil 1, Cure 2, Elvin is through this here with not too much time shaved off.
Oh, this new emote is wonderful. It's for folks that are watching this on YouTube later. It's Tella with sunglasses, and the emote's called Deal. Like, deal with it. Perfect. Chef's kiss.
Did he get that Cure 3 off in time? He did. Okay. Elvensorrow is through, as Cecil will survive these next 2 Dark Waves. And does have the option of actually dropping a life potion on somebody to pick up that 25,000 XP, but does not do so. But now we have major divergence, and now what does Flurry find on the moon?
Flurry at the bottom of the LST now. Going to check, I imagine, I guess the ribbon room first, yep.
Yeah, we need
see
to
the boss and then the 2 key items. Yeah, don't care about the experience. It's another sparkle you don't want to see. I mean, you don't mind it. It's Plague. It's not Wyvern.
Yeah, that does guarantee us, however, if we do see a Lunar Sparkle out in the wild here, like possibly at the top of Lower Babel, that it is absolutely our... And no, that's just the Kaipo Guards, which is really nice to find at the top of tower. That's completely free here, although you are running out of boss slots to throw one of those hourglasses on that our runners have been hoarding here. So the Baron Guards are out, the Kaipo Guards are now accounted for, the Dark Imps are now accounted for. We're losing free slots here at a pace.
Now, I imagine from here, Elvin probably going to go into the Fey March, get that freebie out of the way, check the 2 bosses down there. If we see a sparkle, we know Wyvern is down there. I don't think he knows, but he'll check and then see that it's Wyvern. And then from here, without having done a grind yet, Dwarf Castle is pretty tempting. It's another character check.
I would say, yeah, if you're looking to possibly refine your party, maybe see if you can get rid of that Edward here. Yeah, I said it there, but yeah, if you're looking, you don't think he needs to be in the party anymore. Wow, land of headbands here. Oh, well.
That's the other half of Forge. Night Dew. Elvin's team could suddenly be Crystal Sword, Abel's Lance, versus what Flurry has.
That makes this extremely interesting. Sorcerer Robes on sale in the Feymarch Armor Shop. Not a bad find either for our Rydia and Tella, and we are going to inspect... Oh, wow, I got a Crystal Sword and a white shirt.
Okay,
but more importantly, we did just scope out that room. that's our last lunar sparkle. So that's our Bahamut, which means we know at least 2 objectives are underground, which means, at the very least, while K Bahamut is up there, Fleury is not going to find everything he needs for go mode on the moon.
No, not at all. And Fleury kind of bailed out by finding that crystal sword. Not exactly that he needed it, but I mean, it is going to help expedite this moon by quite a bit, and he really needs that because he needs to get through this moon, and he's probably going to do all of it and get underground. The one saving grace could be if we find a magma key up here on the moon, then he doesn't have to do the hook route at all.
Yeah, and anyway, what's our witch burn today? We have a party-wide sleep is what that is. I don't even know what monster in the base game uses tongue. I'm just gonna say that.
I've asked this before, and I already forget. Not a lot of... Okay, so...
I hope that's a wall coming up for,
Iridia's gonna do something that I do all the time.
And Wyvern
against a Wyvern.
Whiffed with that nuke.
Ooh, I think Tala was casting a wall, and he... yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
We see what the setup there was. I don't think it was enough damage, though. So, Wyvern counters summon magic with a Mega Nuke, which you can reflect with a wall. Seemed to be what his plan there was.
Anyway, elvensorrow, who has the knowledge of where that Wyvern is now, is going to pick up our forge here. And I mean, even if it's not Abel's Lance, even if it's a Gigant Axe, or even a Piggy Sword, honestly, is still rather nice.
Our worst option is a Piggy Sword. I believe, actually, yeah, I don't think you can get the Flandango, right?
I believe that's Cecil only, correct.
Right, okay, so his worst option, quote-unquote worst option, is the Piggy Stick. The Piggy Stick is an Excalibur Light. It doesn't have the strength of an Excalibur, but it has the attack damage of one. Actually, a little bit more, I think.
And meanwhile, Pro Rings, Crystal Rings, and Power Shirts all for sale in the Coco shop.
Crystal Ring's especially nice. Plus 5 agility when you don't have a cursed ring, especially when you don't want to curse your anchor anymore because you have X-Cal Light and a Piggy Stick. Really good for agility manipulation, and also very good defensively.
Speaking of our Piggy Stick, there it is, and still, I mean, better than an Ogre Axe here by a wide margin still. I mean, that's still 163 base attack power on that Kane.
Yeah, I think that just doubled his attack power.
I mean, sure, yeah, we wanted an Abel's Lance, but oh well. Now I'm sure elvensorrow is probably going to beeline Dwarf, I would guess here, possibly hunting that Pan or a Tower Key. And if it's one of those, following that.
Yeah, and Elven being actually rewarded for not doing that grind up front has the power now where the grind to get through the next middle part of the seed much less important. Crystal Sword is nuke on a stick.
It's even better than nuke on a stick when you run into Dark Elf and just constantly deal quad 9s to whatever is in your way, like that Dark Elf that's weak to Holy, is rewarded with a Luca key. So, not the best of rewards unless you've got exactly KQE behind there or a gating key item, but what else are you gonna do here? I will never get tired of seeing Cecil doing the damage cap to anything.
Especially with that satisfying sound effect, that like kaswish thing it makes. And it's only the Crystal Sword that makes that sound, not even the Excalibur. They sound different. It's subtle, but it's different.
Why did this game have the best sound effects of not only its generation, but just straight up the best sound effects?
Yeah, what they were able to do with the Super Nintendo soundboard, pretty awesome.
And and down goes Mylon. Does not even get time to say anything about "Oh my body" because there's a crystal sword went right through it.
Yep, no time for body issues tonight.
Dr. Dialogue over there, Evil Wall right here, and our party member is, well, it's not Edward.
Yep, it's not Edward. Actually, also an okay slingshot target. Speaking of slingshots, and Evil Wall even obliges, punching down that Palom immediately.
Kind of feels like the ship might have sailed a little bit on Elvensorrow's slingshot here at 1 hour, but again, honestly, things other than the Crystal Sword and Piggy Sword, Cecil and Kane kind of feel almost ancillary at this point, assuming Tella can just stay upright to berserk them at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair. The thing I'm thinking about with Elvensorrow is knowing that the Wyvern is down here, there is a world where Elven isn't going to need to do any of the moon. And if he doesn't need to do any of the moon, he will need to do something for even a modicum of experience so that he can get through his Zemus fight. And a slingshot will just make, if you wanted to go to the giant and do like a really quick D-machine, that's still a possibility.
And that's a terminal pink tail, but is not going to direct us to any other objectives. So on the moon, Fleury has only found a pink tail. Elvensorrow picking up the rat tail, which could be value there. Out of Dwarf Castle here. So unfortunately for Fleury, while does have the grind and is still picking up, does have one key item check left here in the Paledom slot, is kind of blanking on the moon so far.
To answer a question from chat, the Supersmith weapons were added maybe about half a year ago now or so into our randomizer. They are not vanilla weaponry, but they are vanilla to the GBA version, which added bonus dungeons, and those bonus dungeons had bonus weaponry. And the whole Sea Hero thing, the Super Forge, instead of giving you an Excalibur from forging, you get a Supersmith weapon. The hero is Kane, so there are a list of weapons that you can get. Meanwhile, Water Hag, the Marisol Altar. One of them is the Piggy Stick, which has, I believe, 160 attack power, which is about the power level of an Excalibur. And it has the effect where on hit, it turns the target into a pig, or a can.
We see a little less of that in Free Enterprise, just because most of the things we fight do have boss bits, unfortunately. That said, again, free Water Hag. I mean, that's like every free boss that isn't named King Queen Evelyn off the table now.
Well, that's an Earth Crystal for Fleury. And he's going to chase that, probably thinking that could be the Wyvern. Plus, you made this moon play, you're going to fade the underground. Kind of chase what you got up here, and the only thing we got to chase is that Earth Crystal. We know that's not going to lead to anything super required. Could still have King Queen Evelyn, though.
King Queen Evelyn or the Pan are really the only ways to make that live here.
And I know we're talking about the Piggy Stick in chat. I genuinely want to say this is one of the weapons like the Black Sword can proc Swoon, because I've seen it, where the Piggy Sword, if you hit an enemy that doesn't have the boss bit, we can't cast spells, but we can do weapon procs, and one weapon proc would be to turn something into a pig. I've seen it in action before. It almost never comes up, but the pig sprite of enemies, which you never get to see because this pig spell is kind of garbage, is absolutely adorable.
To wit, I believe mostly in preparation for something like Golbez, is I think we've seen more piggies cast on the allied party in Free Enterprise as opposed to the enemy party.
Yeah, when it's the enemy as a pig, they're huge. They're like, you know, full-sized version pigs. It's glorious.
All right, so meanwhile, we're getting our rat tail and that's a nice stick for. I mean, I guess Telic and Cecil can use them. I mean, why would you do that when Cecil has 2 crystal swords in the seed? But
I mean, when it rains, it pours.
yeah. Well, look at Eddie contributing with the 648 damage bow shots to the CPU here. He's helping everybody.
That is hundreds of damage.
Unfortunately, Elvensorrow is exhausting a lot of underground checks here. Has continued to search for that cursed ring, and I do believe has not found any source of cursed ring here. Does get a crystal shield out of. I mean, it's good defensive power, but honestly, we were there for the objective anyway. So Flurry is now completed the entirety of the moon and is diving back down to the blue planet. So the big thing is, if either Earth Crystal or Luca Key do turn into some of those non-terminal key items, in this case, honestly, just the pan. Pan's all that's left in terms of our Tower Key as well. Tower Key or Pan, this gets a little more spicy here.
Yeah, and at the end of those chains, I mean, well, Tower Key and Pan both require you to go underground. I'm still trying to find a world where we find a magma key before going underground. It's kind of looking somewhat slim. I guess Zot could give a magma key, but that's not really a very good reward.
No, not especially. What Flurry really doesn't want to see here is something like the package. That would be probably worst case here, as I'm pretty sure we've chewed through most of our zonks here, actually.
Yeah, package or the spoon would be the worst hits, for sure. Or nothing, of course. Like no key item.
Yep.
Flurry doing a little bit of shopping. Not sure what we're looking for. Could be life potions or ethers. I don't think this party's wanting for much, though.
Yeah, Flurry actually going straight for Zot here is committing to the moon bit, which I totally and completely agree with. While Elvensorrow is keeping that Palom face down, so might actually be sitting on a slingshot for that. Now with I lost my train of thought there. Oh yes, I know what I said. If this is any kind of key item here, the good thing for Elvensorrow here is by delaying the grind to this long here, with one more key item of which that vanilla tower key that is 10 key items. So Elvensorrow is now in bonus territory for the double XP there.
Oh, and that tower key represents a boss also. This could be very good for him. Very interesting.
Whereas Flurry is also in the 9 key item territory, but again, with the boss completely done here, so we do see Baigen in the Mega Sisters. So again, not what our runners are looking for here.
And our restreamer Jofes Mano did say that he trained under the Vanilla Master himself, Dathos. So this seed really not a surprise. So that boss, Rubicon.
We only find leg.
Also, big shout out to our restreamer and our tracker, Tybalt. This show would not happen without them. Give them a follow, y'all. They're great.
Alright, so if you are Flurry, you have just located at 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 30 seconds. You have located a white mage. And Ria number 4.
And Fleury will take that Porin because Ed is sadly not a very functional party member. We love you, Ed, but get out.
I mean, to be fair, Evil Wall is off the table. Odin was in Land of Summons. Dark Knight Cecil is accounted for. That, however, is just slightly important. So we do have the moon also gating 2 objectives. So between Cape Bahamut and the Earth Crystal, moon is required.
Now the question is going to be, is moon hard required? And it is not, because the tower key just gave us a pan.
And we know where Wyvern is.
That's no
So
mode.
we are in complete no mode on all of our objectives now. So the question is can Elvensorrow find a solution for that Wyvern quickly? Oh, but there's the Magma Key out of Earth, so Fleury now does get to save some time by bypassing the entirety of the hook chain.
Fleury really needed that. That Legend Sword was at Feymarch, right?
I believe so.
So he's going to find the Legend Sword and Wyvern.
Actually, was it a dwarf? Now I think about it. Yeah, it was a dwarf.
It was a dwarf.
Pretty much preview was Legend? Okay. Elvisar just waited a sec before. Wait,
dwarf was Rat Tail.
Yep, just an apple for the Sylphs, but if you are Elvensorrow, unless you're really worried about that Luca Key or that Earth Crystal, both of which we know are on the moon here, Sheila is really only have, in terms of key item, it's either a Zonk or the package, and actually, yeah, it's either a Zonk or the package from Sheila too here.
That Magma Key was huge. How many minutes do you suppose it would take to get through the hook route? Because Fleury's just dodged that.
Yeah, the one big thing here is Fleury does have that. However, I do not see Fleury going and hitting the Twin Harp, which means Fleury is going to have to do the Walk of Shame down through the moon, whereas Elvensorrow did pick up the pass, so that's a couple more minutes back in Elvensorrow's favor here.
Okay, Fleury doing something that makes a lot of sense to me. It's committing to his gamble. He found Luca at the Masamune altar and is gonna chase it, peek the key item, and then peek the boss right afterwards, realize that they're both Zonks, and then leave. What he'll need to do after this is get into the Feymarch immediately. 2 objectives are sitting there for him. That will put him in go mode. Meanwhile, Elvin needs to do, I guess, just Cave Bahamut and find a grind, right?
Yeah, and Elvin just picked up 10 Ether 2s and is talking to our operator here, so that is, yeah, it goes straight to the Giant here.
Now this will be a much quicker grind for Elvensorrow. He's got the 10 key items, so he gets double experience. Palom will need about 6, I want to say, maybe even less, to get to nuke, especially if you only want to get it enough to where you get to nuke at like K value and Wyvern. So you probably don't even need the full 6.
Yeah, you probably won't nuke for Zeromus there, so I'd probably do the full 6 there, but other than that, time is extremely of the essence here, so yeah, I would say probably 6 and go.
Yeah, this is really close right now, I think. I want to say Fleury is ahead, but it's
not by much here. Again, we're going to see, that is the package, so we have located all of our key items. That does mean that actually we're out of busts there. We have seen everything the seed has deigned to give us here. Oh, hi Valvolus. And I'm pretty sure I would be resetting out of this. I'm not sure why Fleury, especially with the Fleury doesn't know where Wyvern is yet. So that's correct. So Fleury is taking an insurance package here, which That's yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but I see why he's doing it.
This is the very conservative play, I think. It's the play that you make when you are trying to cut off all avenues of escape from your opponent, and one avenue of escape is the package having Wyvern.
Yeah, no, I actually believe, based on the fact again that now I believe Flurry's actually going to immediately check this too, is the thing, because again, this is from the Luca key on the moon. So again, I guess if you're completely committing to the moon bit here, I mean, the one good thing is you have already found 2 objectives worth of value on the moon. So at the very least, you do get to say, you know, even if one of them was Kate Bahamut at this point, you do get to say, well, at least I know that Elvensorrow does have to go to the moon eventually, even if it's just for Kate Bahamut.
Yeah, we'll see what he wants to do here. Checking the package would be wild to me, just because of how long a check it is. You're literally throwing your entire race on it, unless you think you are that much faster than your opponent. And Flurry is certainly a better runner than Elven, but I don't know if he's that much of a better runner that he could win on the back of doing an entire package check. See what he chooses to do here. It's one of those things. It's not like it's wrong from the face of like you shouldn't be doing that. It makes a lot of sense to me to lean into, kind of as you explained, the sort of gamble that you've made, but it will be a problem for him if he does it.
Yeah,
see where he chooses to go.
Elvin did get to the Searcher fight. Unfortunately, only a horseman coming out of that. And I don't know if, yeah, that's a reset. Gonna restart this. And the longer it takes for Elvensorrow to find this D Machine fight is all the time that Flurry makes back up here, and is actually, I don't know if it's paranoia at this point or.
Wow, this is incredible. It's hard to defend this choice from the perspective of it being, I think that you could go very defensively here and just try to cover the ground that you've sort of missed underground, at least like see the freebies. But it does commit to that, it does fully commit to that line like you said, and it's also making a very close race for us.
Yeah, now,
Because now
also
it's
to
hard
wit
to
that,
say.
yeah, also to wit that Flurry is seeing 2 possibilities. As Flurry still doesn't know where that D Mist is as well.
Flurry got the Twin Harp, so did Baron Castle?
I believe it was Baron Castle, yes. So yeah,
Yeah,
again,
so-
that Undone Twin Harp, which would lead to the past, but would kind of be a time loss here anyway. But
Right, but the Demist was on the Baron throne, so you should have that knowledge.
meanwhile, Elvensorrow still having a little bit of difficulty in getting this grind fight to pop. Is stopping to hit these 2 beamers, so may have found it.
Yeah, most likely. On the encounter table, I'm not sure which room he's in, but on the encounter table, it's like, it's pretty early on in the encounter table, so the odds of actually hitting the D-Machine are pretty reasonable. Sometimes it could take a few tries, but... Now, of course, this could be the horsemen instead of the surprise horses instead of D-Machines, but...
Anyway, welcome Raiders from Free Enterprise here. We're going to, oh wow, that's an old gauntlet! Oh my. Anyway, meanwhile, Elvensorrow has found the D-Machine fight, so grind is incoming here momentarily. To do a quick recap here, Flurry did a quick D-Machine after finding an extremely early Tella, and Darkness Crystal, I believe an Antlion here, is making the correct play, as we do know that both the Legend Sword and Wyvern are down here in the Feymarch, so Flurry will be hitting go mode in probably the scope of less than 5 minutes here.
Yeah, and again, oh no, go ahead.
Meanwhile, Elvensorrow also does know that he is also in go mode, does know the location of the Wyvern, and does know that K Bahamut at least exists and does have a Darkness Crystal here. So it just getting the grind done. Does have 10 key items for this, as Flurry does pick up that Legend Sword, and Flurry does a little dance like, oh no, that was here?
Yeah, now to go back to Flurry's decision to check that package, I do want to make it clear. Flurry is a very good runner and made a very intentioned choice to chase everything that the moon gave him. He did the moon first, he did that before the hook route, and the moon gave the Luca key, and the Luca key gave the package, and he just decided, and he chose to fully lean into that. And kind of how we talked about before, why that would make sense to do, because if your opponent went Earth first instead, it's reasonable to think that they found kind of what they needed from the Earth, and you might have lost.
Yeah,
but
again, the one thing that would give me a little less pause here is Flurry did find KQE off that Earth Crystal there, and did find, it did complete K Bahamut up there, so does know that the moon is, at the very least, semi-required?
Semi-required, but I guess he wouldn't know. Actually, finishing the Luca chain confirmed that the moon wasn't hard required, right? Because you
very least, yeah.
Because you chased literally everything the moon gave you, and all it gave you was King Queen Evelyn. Yeah, tricky seed. Really interesting divergence between the two of these runners.
The one thing still playing into Elvensorrow's favor here again is the pass that Elvensorrow did find in the Twin Harp cave. Magnus, there we go. I do locations.
They also have an interesting parody of equipment. Elvensorrow found a crystal sword from the Cave Eblin Staleman trap chest, and Flurry found a crystal sword from the Ribbon Room. And they're both going to have the Forge weapon, which is a piggy stick, as Kain is our hero.
Yeah, our one, and we are going to actually have 2 nuke casters here on Elvensorrow's side, as opposed to a second Berserker, or at least second White Mage caster in Forum, although I don't think she's going to really get too much more in the way of XP still. Does get a nice hat at least for the Wyvern reward there.
Yeah, Porum at this level is going to do a really good Tella impersonation. She will cast Berserk and then she'll die at the Zerma's fight.
True. I mean, all you really need is for shiny men with large swords and 6 to hit Zeromus until death, as Flurry is rushing in to go trade in trade in the Legend Sword and the Adamant for the final objective here. So is about to grab Crystal and is then going to start the walk to the moon here. I have not been counting D machines here, but I have seen right around at least 6 go down here. I don't know if Elvensorrow is counting exactly the 6 here. Might be picking off a few extra ones just because we do know that Rydia is not going to be slingshot here. Maybe he wants to try to get the double nuke set up here. And Pancraz asks if we can pour him up some HP here, and if I had lesser melee attackers, I would think about it, but with Crystal Sword Cecil and Piggy Stick Kain, now mind you, Kane's agility is going to be a thing here, and Fleury is in everything must go territory, as we are going to see probably everything sold out of the inventory for last minute upgrades here.
That heroin robe might have been useful to help make sure that Porum could cast a Berserk kind of earlier than later, but yeah, really good. The power shirts and the crystal rings if he wants them. Probably just wants the 2 power shirts, I'm gonna guess. Nope, buys a crystal ring. See how he wants to set up this Zemus fight. I think the one thing that's going to be tricky for them is having this high agility anchor without a real white mage. They do know where the Cure 3s are though. They are in Mysidia.
Elvensorrow has finished up the grind. I did not see the levels, and Hallam
54.
is at 54. So no Rydia nuke, but Hallam does have nuke, and Fleury is heading to Troya before realizing that he shall not pass, and he has to take the long way. Meanwhile, Elvensorrow sees Mom Bomb and says, "No, that's not a fast way at all. Let's walk out."
So if you were about to head into this Zemus fight, Night 2, really with either of these teams, what would you be thinking about? How would you be wanting to set up your party for success at the Zemus fight?
I mean, at this point, even with that nuke grind from Elvensorrow there, at least for Hallam, I mean, you do have to have that Rydia for Asura, and the thing holding each of our runners back is we have found, I mean, the best piece of agility equipment we found, and I do believe Fleury never did even find that Dwarf Axe.
No.
We did find Asura, but I don't believe Elvensorrow bought Asura, now that I think about it.
No, I don't think he did either. And I don't think they have a Drain Spear or a Drain Sword either.
So between
they have a crystal ring.
Yeah, between questionable agility. Yeah, between questionable agility, lack of silk webs, lack of purse items, even with the real ultimate power that this Cecil and Kane are, and maybe that's just what Fleury's banking on. He's saying, look, let's just get these 2 people berserked really fast, and maybe they'll have the damage output. I'm sure it's more than that. Fleury is extremely accomplished, and again, 1 nerf. Porum should stay alive. It's even with this party, this is not a gimme Zemus fight.
No, not at all. I'm not sure what gear he has for the Porum. Porum is pretty good defensively. She's only level 30, but with enough gear, I mean, it is conceivable she could survive.
Yeah, I would guess she's
thing.
Kane at 38 agility there is going to go to 42. They're going to anchor with a, well, I guess that makes sense getting to that next, and is going to pass. No, okay, yeah, let's just leave Rydia's stuff there. Going down to battle speed 3.
Now, why is 42 agility an important number?
Now, I am not going to claim to be advanced in agility math, but even with, in terms of getting people to a fairly decent relative agility, not counting the original 14, is you do want to hit multiples of 14 just to get your party as close to relative agility breakpoints as possible. So putting Kane up to that 43 is actually a pretty good number to land on there.
Yeah, it will functionally slow Zemus down. It will also slow the other party members down, but with the application of 2 slows, if Porum and Tella can get those off, they will double the effect of Zemus's relative agility. But meanwhile, I see a distinct lack of flags in chat. Is nap time not happening tonight?
They're asking one person's question, and there's some flags there. And yeah, it is the question of does Zemus have a butt, and can we kick it, and is it cute in possibly that order here. Meanwhile, Elvensorrow is firing up. That is a wall going out on Cecil here, is using the Leviathan, so could just kind of go for a little bit of quick kill depending on how much damage you can get out here. Honestly, I kind of feel like I just really want to berserk that Cecil and take my chances with a chances with the mad guy with a crystal sword against Wyvern there.
Well, in the meanwhile, to quote my great recent comms partner, FF4FE whose kick are we gonna butt tonight?
Absolutely, and oh look, we're taking this cookie wagering thing a little bit too far here, because now
This is
he's
for all
showing
the
up.
cookies.
Yeah.
One too many cookies got wagered, and Zeromus wants that payoff.
So Zeromus has called in the Cookie Monster himself to sweep up all the cookies here. Of note, that Porum is still at 648 HP, so yeah, that's does want to keep does want to keep just berserks, but Porum not really going to be useful for much else at all here. And here comes the initial Big Bang. Rydia should survive. Porum is going to drop here, and that's not terrible there. Gonna get Tella up probably just a toss as big of a cure for as possible as Rydia throws a veil onto herself. Probably just gonna hybrid up as much nuke as possible, but Zeromus is already shaking again. Another Big Bang is in the works here.
Yeah, so here's the kind of scary thing. Without a Silk Web or application of double slow, this Zeromus is RA3, and the team is basically RA 4 and 5 and 6, which means the team is about half as fast as Zeromus is.
That was a spicy Big Bang there. And there's the first black hole, which does mean that the Berserk is going to fall off of Cecil. And the one thing about Zeromus is you really don't want to make it, or you don't want to let it get bogged down into just a revive/heal loop here. And it looks like Fleury's strategy here is to just basically try to just keep that Crystal Sword Cecil swinging, which is probably, I'd say, the best thing going for him without trying to, get a double slow on him there. But even then, is going to be probably facing a few more Big Bangs, and if there's another shake right there.
Yeah, definitely. I like the way that you put it about being kind of stuck in a loop of playing reactive instead of proactive. In card game terminology, I call this losing tempo, where you're having to play this reactive game. You're not able to set up the game that you would like to play, which is to get your Berserk set up and going. Now, thankfully, Cecil's swinging a very large stick, doing a lot of damage, but this is very dangerous.
Now, mind you, with
As
the
I
lack of a
believe-
Sora, that Elvensorrow is going to run into the same kind of issue here, and is really only going to have that Tella for Berserks here. Does have his Cure 3 pots, and Cecil and Kane can throw them, but neither of them really have great sustain here.
Yeah, there's barely enough time to get somebody healed up enough to survive an unnerved Big Bang. Fleury doing these run bufferings, trying to cheat time by freezing the ATB system whenever that can't run away message is up, is able to get a Cure 4 off right before the Big Bang. That run buffer is almost certainly what let him do that. It's important to have two members up, because now one can throw a life potion, one can throw a cure potion. Tella's turn will come up, he'll be able to throw a berserk, and this is not exactly the kind of setup you want, but it at least pushes things forward.
Yeah, and as the car smash is saying in there, that initial counter nuke on Atella, yeah, you really wanted that second Berserk to come out on Kane, honestly, with this here. I know he's making a great chemist here as well, but with this, it is up to the next phase already. Unfortunately, that nuke landed on Tella, which I believe or on Kane, and Tella was throwing a Cure 3 onto Kane with Kane there. So it's just gonna throw that Cure 3 onto Cecil here, but again, if there is a wipe here, and it is a dicey situation right now. We do see elvensorrow is fighting some orbs here and is just seconds away from go mode here.
So this is something I learned recently because I find in my free enterprise career to not be caught in the second phase of this fight for very long, usually, but ZZ4 has certainly given me a fight like this. There's a part in this script where we're getting the nuke into Big Bang, where there will be a Big Bang. The next action should be a shake into Big Bang, which might be a little bit scary. There might not be enough time to set up. I remember that really surprising me. Now, Fleury, of course, certainly knows what he's doing. Is going to know, yep, there's the shake again.
Also note that Fleury does have some ethers left, but I believe it's down to 4 Cure 3s, and that Big Bang came out before Tella fired off that Cure 4.
Cecil might not even survive this. Okay, that was a low roll. That was good.
Meanwhile,
so the
down
next
goes
action here. Yep. The next action here should be a nuke. Yep. So the way this is going to cycle now, it's nuke, Big Bang, Big Bang, nuke, Big Bang, Big Bang. That's the cycle we're going to have until we're able to start putting up some damage again to get into Rock's phase.
Yeah, and the thing is, at this point, again, it was with that whole tempo discussion there, is that in the last 2.5 minutes, Fleury has, other than this Crystal Sword swing here, not really done any damage at all.
No, Kane hasn't been able to swing even once, because without Kane being berserked to kind of set up and buffer actions and whatnot, Kane has been forced into a chemist because there hasn't been any other time. He hasn't been able to do anything else.
And while Cecil is lopping off hit points in massive chunks with that Crystal Sword here, how much longer do we have to go here? Because one more unnerved Big Bang could spell some large amounts of trouble for this 2100 hit point Cecil here.
We're running out of curatives.
That one actually went off before, and does look like elvensorrow did find a Drain Spear and is attaching it to this Kane as well here. I did not see what his agility is at, but that's the final Cure 3 there. That's a black hole, unfortunately. So, are we to rocks yet? No, that's a direct nuke.
I don't think he gets through this. This would have to get to rocks right now.
Yeah, this would have to be immediate rocks here.
Yeah, he's just holding A. He knows it.
And that's
no, that's a shake.
He needs a low roll and a dodge, probably 3 sets of rocks here. Oh, no, that's a high roll. Oh no, we've got a race here as elvensorrow is using the pass and is walking up with a little bit of a different pick here. Let's see.
Yeah, we don't just have a race. Elven is ahead now, because Fleury's got to run all the way back down. Though Elven, in his inventory for a moment, kind of resetting up. Every second he's in here, he is bleeding time. Fleury is running his way back down.
Trying to move everything onto Callum here, is throwing a lot of onto the nuke, throwing a strength ring over to Cecil. again, Drain Spear. Don't see anything else on that cane. Not sure what agility is on that cane here. If it is I want to say he might unfortunately be. Did Kane have that ninja hat? If Kane had that ninja hat, he might be right around that 28 breakpoint.
Yeah, 28 would be fine. Even lower than that would be not ideal, but I think when you're relying on Tella and you don't have a Silk Web, I'll admit I'm not fully sure, but it may play out better than what happened to Fleury.
The issue is you just need Tella to do so much here.
And Tella is very, very slow. And when you have, on Fleury's side, a 42 agility anchor, Tella is suddenly much, much, much slower as a result.
Oh, wow. So I saw a thing in elvensorrow's inventory. Did you see what elvensorrow has?
No, I missed it. What was it?
He has a Silk Web. I don't know where he found it, but I saw a Silk Web in there.
That's huge. That's huge. He only has Tella to cast slow with. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a cursed ring, so it's not like he's at a comfy RA1 situation. I think the advantage is on Elven here.
I did see him go by it. It has already set up the Veil on Rydia and is going to be launching nukes with the kid here. Is going to Berserk Cecil, and if he remembers that Silk Web in the inventory, just a little too early on that there. Cecil's going to go Berserking.
One nice thing about having Black Mages, you don't need to Berserk them. They just sort of... They're self-autonomous.
Yep, and is going for that Silk Web. The question is, what kind of curatives does elvensorrow have? And unfortunately, doesn't look like...
Actually, none.
Wow. So...
Not a single Cure 3 to his name.
Yeah, a couple life potions and single target Cure 4s.
This right here, y'all, is what ZZ4 was meant to do, by the way. It was meant to create these sort of fights. We've got crystal swords on both sides, and there's still difficulty getting through this fight.
He is setting Tella up to Berserk up that cane, so it's going to have two Berserkers here. Did not see how Flurry's is going off here as well. Did lose both Tella and Palom there. I mean, both Cecils are swinging for tons. I mean, at this point, if you're elvensorrow, you direct cast a Cure 4 onto Kane, continue to throw as much hybrid damage as you can with that Silk Web, and should be enough.
These two are so close neck and neck. Tella throwing out the slow on Flurry's side, but I don't think he's going to get a chance to. Nope. Big Bang going out.
If elvensorrow can just keep the damage coming out here with, all sources, maybe wants to throw out if Tella can find another turn, or even if they have a phase tip here that might clear off that Big Bang Shake here.
Yeah, my primary concern is going to be the lack of curatives on Elven's side.
And it does look like the phase just did flip here. Unfortunately, that Tella's out of MP and isn't really going to get more. Might just try to settle for dropping one more Cure 2 on... Oh, no, did not... how much damage does the Cecil take?
Flurry, Rydia, unfortunately, her Silk Web, has dropped there. I don't know if the black hole took that or what, but we have a slowed Rydia instead of the reflect, but this is looking a lot cleaner for Fleury at the moment.
Oh, those are rocks.
Oh
Do
no.
we get a dodge? Do we get a dodge?
All right, Cecil dodges.
Needs one more swing. Does he get it? He gets it. That should be... That's it. That's it. That's GG. elvensorrow from out of nowhere with a Cecil and a Dream. Finishes off Zeromus. Just pushes through as much damage as possible, which honestly with this team is probably the best you could hope for. But our winner with the official time of 146.44, elvensorrow.
GG's to elvensorrow. What a well-played race and a well-deserved finish. Now, unfortunately, Elvin won't be able to join us for an interview tonight, but again, big GG's to him. And critical that Elvin got that win, because this was game 2 of their set, and Fleury was up 1, so now they're going to be able to go on to a game 3. And of course, we're always going to cheer on game 3s, right?
Absolutely. Unless I'm playing in them, then I'd like to keep things 2-0 in my head.
Yeah, I mean, same. Fair enough.
Yeah, and again, just like you said, I mean, both these parties had, Crystal Sword Cecils, Canes with Piggy Sticks, all the power they could honestly want, and Zeromus still did Zeromus things.
Sea Hero is a challenging flag set. There is a reason that we stick to low agility when we can. There's rocks and Fleury's side, so this fight under much more control for him. A few swings and he should be there.
That Berserking Cecil and over 3,000 hit points, and...
The Kamikaze, wait, is this gonna kill? Are we getting a crumble skip?
Let's see, are we getting a crumble skip?
Aww.
No crumble skip.
We tried. So if you weren't aware, the Kamikaze, for whatever reason, if it deals lethal damage, and there's the finish for Fleury, GG's to Fleury. If it gets the lethal damage against a boss that crumbles, it will just not crumble. The even better part is if it happens to Zeromus, then Zeromus just disappears, and then the battle music is still playing when you're at the post cutscene.
It's been a long while since I have Kamikaze Zeromus, and I feel the need to go do it again.
But anyways, GG's to Fleury with an official time in second place of 1 hour, 49 minutes, and 17 seconds, and we'll see if we can get him here shortly for an interview. And I do believe that sound, we've got the Fleury man himself in here. GG's, Fleury. So let's go to the package. I think I need to ask that first. Tell us what was on your mind.
Oh, I mean that was relatively simple. At least I thought at the time, in that if I'm going to full clear the moon, I can't come away with just 1 on a 4 out of 5 back of a chain. I need to get 2. I felt like, it turned out not to be the case, but I felt like if I do a completely unnecessary full LST in chains, I'm not going to win. So might as well swing for the fences there. And like I ended up getting lucky getting like go mode immediately after that, which sure, that's great, but like if that had been like something else that was behind like Dwarf Castle, I'm like 10 minutes behind. So yeah, that's why I did that.
Yeah, that's fair enough, and that was kind of what we surmised as we were talking out sort of the pros and cons of that play. And so then the next thing to ask about is that Zeromus fight. I know ZZ4 was designed for awkward Z fights, and I've been there. So kind of tell us kind of what happened there.
I didn't spend the time shopping for Asura. really what it was. If that's why I was checking like shops really late, hoping to find a Sura, because I didn't want to have to go in, and I knew it was going to be weird with just Cure 3 pots, and I was like, I'd like to be able to Zerk Kane and maybe just play the Asura Lotto, but without it, and the other main problem was as soon as Rydia went down, I should have just reset. I spent like 5 minutes trying to stabilize, and I did like kinda sorta stabilize, but then I ran out of Cure 3 pots. I'm like, well, this is it's not great if you're keeping yourself alive but you're not doing any damage. So that was definitely a case of hanging on when I should have just let go and reset. And second time went fine. The turn order also threw me for a loop. I did not expect Rydia to go before Kane. Rydia to go before Cecil. That did not make any sense, and that had me lose a turn on the first go, which when Zeromus is that fast and you don't have ways to deal with it, that's a problem.
That makes sense.
Another reason to reset, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I bet it was one of those like high-low, they're the same RA situation. That would be my guess. Or maybe just a weird queuing thing. I don't know.
I thought so.
Sometimes.
Like even if they were in the same RA tier, I thought Rydia was in slot 3 and Cecil's in slot 4, so she shouldn't be going first. Or I mean, she it was just weird. I didn't think they'd actually be in the same RA slot. So it goes. So the second time I was able to get like a good order start and was able to actually keep Rydia up while still managing to life up Tella to get a Zerk off, and that one was easy after that, so oh well.
Yeah, definitely the second time through looked a lot cleaner. And, I mean, to your credit, and really anyone playing still in this tournament, like the situations that this particular flag set throws you into at Zeromus, it's a wide variety of them, and trying to get used to all of them really well, pretty challenging. So obviously not the result that you wanted, but well fought. And
yeah, I contemplated burning the Siren on the way down with the Hourglass, thinking that maybe I get to Cure 4 on Porum with a Slingshot 240, but I didn't think it would quite get there. But in retrospect, being able to at least survive the nerfed one, would have been a big deal.
Yeah, certainly. But I'm sure also on your mind is, gotta go.
Yeah, go right now. Yeah, exactly. Like when you've done as much content that's struck out, it doesn't feel like you could spend a lot of time on luxuries like that.
All right, I have to ask you one more question. Mm-hmm. Did you fade Eblin just to spite me?
Well, I mean, I didn't have a great. I mean, kidding. I had Nuke and Quake, so that was good. But I was banking on pulling something from the moon, so it deciding between moon and going underground was really tough, because DKC would have been super fast. And I don't know who the King Queen spot was, but after a D machine grind, yeah, that's not a problem. So if this was LHL, I'd probably stay on Earth, but I decided not to.
Yeah, and the moon could have had it all. Like, absolutely.
Yep.
Go ahead, Night Dude.
Yeah, just to kind of walk through. I mean, obviously the underground moon was the major divergence, but I believe it was you went to Baron and you had that Edward, I believe. What was I mean, I know you had Tella, I know you had Darkness Crystal. You're like, but what was I know you faded Twin Harp. Was it just saying, hey, I don't want to do this, I'm going to die on this hill for music? It was like right then and there, and like even when you came back, it's like, no, this Twin Harp doesn't exist. And I totally get that, because usually if you go up to the moon, it's commit to whatever you found. But
yeah, it's a fast enough check that if somebody decides to not demachine, and it's only going to take me like 2.5 minutes, if it has an objective, I can't afford to pass up on it. it's too fast of a check, and it's right there. So I was going to do it. I dove in before just to see who the character was in case I could get the ed out, but it was like Ridian, one of 500,000 Ridias that seed. So yeah, I wasn't gonna fade it. Harp, on the other hand,
yeah, you did find our only instance of white magery that at least we saw there. About the only character check we didn't see was the end of the giant, and I mean, I don't blame anybody for taking a peek at that mom bomb and saying no thanks.
So going on to a game 3, kind of anything on your mind for how you might, not necessarily like fully change strategy, you don't have to like give away kind of what you'll be doing, but you know, anything on your mind in general for game 3 against Elvensorrow?
I think the plan is still relatively sound. I could, if I'm going to learn anything from this one, it's just to be a little more safe on the Zeromus fight. Like, I should have taken the extra minute and a half to shop for Asura. Like, that should have been a thing I did, and I didn't. So that's, if that comes up again, sure enough, but I feel like I did clear a large amount of not necessary content and still came pretty close. So I
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think there's that much to change, really.
Yeah, the mildly crazy thing is we did see where Asura was, and elvensorrow actually did see it. It was in the same shop as Leviathan. It was in the it was in Cave Eblin, but did see that elvensorrow did pick up that Leviathan. Also passed on the Asura, and we're like, is he ever going to go back and get that? So neither of you took Asura with those Ridias to the final battle there.
Yeah, I don't think I actually checked the shop at all because I wasn't planning on the possibility of not going even down the hook route at all was a thing, and I didn't have a lot of money either. So yeah, like I should have, but even then, like if I decide to check the shop afterwards, it's not like checking the hook shop is long. So
yeah, I mean, if anything, it might have played out actually where if you had gone to look for Asura, I imagine you'd have gone everywhere but the hook shop.
I'm
not totally sure about, but you know, Asura can show up anywhere, right?
Yeah, it could be anywhere. I probably do Silvera into Tamara into hook shop. Those were the 3 I had left.
I see, because you hadn't seen them yet. That makes sense. Well, that's about it for me for questions. Did you have anything else, Night Dew?
No, I think that's it. I am definitely going to be watching the schedule to see. Have you guys scheduled your game 3 yet at all?
No, I think we're kind of waiting to see. When we originally scheduled, we contemplated doing a double header, and I kind of didn't want to, but yeah, I don't, if it doesn't happen like in the next hour and a half, and I don't think it will, then it's probably going to be sometime of the weekend.
Yeah, I kind of figured we'll just definitely be watching that for that here, and again, just watching for far more races here over the full week here. So again, good luck to both of you going forward here.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys all taking the time out to do this restream. It's really awesome to see Joffus back, and yeah, thanks y'all. I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping this engine running.
Yeah, of course, and thanks for putting on such a good race and a good show. And I'll definitely be looking forward to watching your next match against Elvensorrow.
All right, I'm gonna go report to my troll interview. So catch y'all later.
All right, bye.
Yep.
Well, that was a race.
That was absolutely a race. Let's do it again. Tomorrow, at least, very much. I believe we have 5 races, I believe, going on right there.
Yeah, and we don't have the assignments out, but we'll have them out very, very shortly for which ones are going to be restreamed. But there are multiple races going on tomorrow.
including one I believe that is our 9 a.m. Eastern time. I remember those; they were interesting.
Yeah, so to name them really quick, it's Blue Cat Loach versus Peasants OMFG. So these are all Eastern time. That's at 9 o'clock. We also have tomorrow Commander Leonhardt versus Plumerian Knight, and Aikir versus Rex Raoul. That's at 5 o'clock. And then into the night, at 8 o'clock, it's Direwolf versus Scythe Marshall. At 9 o'clock, it's Possumorpheus versus Zoe Vermilion. And also Klopfer versus Pyre. Lots of really good matches.
Yeah, I know they'll try to get as many as they can here. For anyone else, I know we try to restream as much. I know the Catgars will be up, but again, if you are looking for more free enterprise, there is plenty to be found here in the coming weeks.
Yep. But in the meanwhile, that's it for us for free enterprise. But that's not the end of free enterprise tonight. If you should choose to consume more of it, because we are going to be heading over to Reckless Charlie, who is playing more free enterprise as we speak.
All right, and with that, good night, everybody, and yeah.
And remember, no spoilers. And otherwise, yeah, have a great night, y'all. Bye.